Good afternoon, and today I'd like to talk to you about a model I've made of Fussell's Lodge Logging Barrow, which in Wiltshire. Fussell's Lodge Long Barrow was excavated in the 1920s by Paul Ashbee, and I've based this reconstruction of it on Elizabeth Meikle's drawing of how it originally may have looked. Now, Fussell's Lodge is, hold on, here it is. There you go, that's my model. Now, Fussell's Lodge was an early Neolithic long barrow, which meant that it differed from those in the later Neolithic in that it didn't have chambers to hold, the bones of the dead. They were just buried at the eastern end. Under the floor, and there may be as many as 1 to 51 individual burials in there. They were then covered with a flint cairn and left in the tomb. Now, as you can see, it's wedge shaped. There's a wooden entrance there, wooden walls made of posts and rivet ends, sort of like wooden revetments, post and plank, and these two covered areas here, and then you have the ditches either side of them. That's another feature of the early Neolithic tombs. They were made. They have this straight or wedge-shaped wooden walls around them, except in Yorkshire and Lincolnshire where they're concave. Now, there may be a memory here of the longhouses in which Neolithic people were living in on the continent before 5000 BC, and remains of these houses have been found in Germany and Poland. So there was a connection here. I've made the roof and the ditches mud coloured because I thought they'd be made of mud. The roof was covered with earth, and the ditches similarly. I thought, right, they're going to be muddy. But in actual fact, the soil around the lodge, Fussell's Lodge, is chalk, and so I think that when it was originally built it would have been strikingly white, and I think that was quite deliberate. I think they made them to stand out as far as possible from the other features in the landscape, so that you knew when you were approaching a special sacred space. With these ditches, which is from where the chalk and the mud for these long barrows were taken. Quite often in long barrows like these, you find that they're full of flint artifacts. In fact, they're made of whole knacked pieces of flint which have been broken up, but not used to produce any artifacts. Nobody's actually made any flint knives or scrapers or arrowheads from them, although axes and other implements are found in them as offerings. And it seems to me that this is another kind of part of the ritual. Is offerings to the dead, or offerings to the gods or the spirits for their safe passage into the afterlife. Also, you tend to find in some early Neolithic barrows, there are no burials at all, and Paul Ashbee thought this was quite deliberate. He thought that they may have been tombs for those whose bodies could not have been recovered, or alternatively the sites of special fertility worship to ensure the gods would rejuvenate, or the gods or the spirits would rejuvenate exhausted soil and the fertility of the harvest. Now, some of the bones in some of these areas, in some of these tombs, seem to be treated differently, and it's secondary burial. They seem to have been left to decompose, for the flesh to decompose elsewhere. and then moved into, and then moved and buried, reinterred in the Long Barrow. And that's also what appears to have happened at Fussell's Lodge. And that's my attempt to model this fascinating Neolithic site.